Hi folks, and welcome to my new video. It's Sunday the 4th of October. The only reason I've mentioned the date is because I know it's been quite a while since I posted any new content. There have been a good couple of reasons for that, and I'm going to go into them in more detail throughout the video. But for now, I just wanted to say hi and apologise for the length of time it's taken me to get back online. I have had some lovely comments from people asking if I'm okay because it has been a while since I posted anything. This is to reassure people that I'm doing okay, but I am going to go into it in more detail. As always folks, if you don't mind, if you're enjoying the videos, please like, subscribe and ring the bell for further notifications. And guys, share the video. That's what it's here for. It's if anybody needs any sort of support, if they can get anything out of these videos, then please let them know that they're there. Thank you. So, where am I? As I said, it's been a while since I put any new content up, but that's been greatly due to the fact that I was editing the Heart Attack trilogy. I really didn't expect it to take so long, so I apologise about that. And on that guys, I cannot thank you enough for the response I got from that. I made that video purely because it was the anniversary of my heart attack. I didn't expect people to get so involved with it and actually asking for me to put up the extra content. So thank you. And very quickly before I go into the main content of this video, I'm still not smoking. I'd actually have to check on the videos when I quit smoking, but I don't smoke anymore. So yeah, me. So, why is it taking me so long to get a new video up? The main reason it's taking so long to put this video up is because I've not been doing too well. In fact, to be honest, this has been the week from hell. I sank to a really low place and wasn't going out, wasn't talking to anybody, and was just stewing in my own juices. And I can't explain why. I couldn't get out of a rut that I was in, and every day seemed to be worse than the day before. I kept going to bed saying, right, tomorrow's going to be a better day, and it wasn't. And every time I sat down in front of a camera, I just ended up a mess. Not going to lie, I don't feel better, but if I don't put a video up, I'm never going to put a video up. So I'm going to be dead honest and say that my stomach's churning just now. I'm not enjoying making this video, but if I don't, it's the end of the series. Don't panic, that doesn't mean I'm going to do anything silly. The only thing I would ever do is stop making the videos, and I don't want to do that. But it has been really, really difficult doing this today. I've tried to think if there was a trigger or something that happened that maybe caused this, but honestly, there wasn't. I just remember that from Monday of last week, there were days I couldn't get out of bed. There was one bit in particular where I lay down and couldn't get back up. I wasn't exhausted, it wasn't that I'd been doing anything terribly strenuous, I just couldn't get off my bed. One of the things I've been doing is spending a lot of time researching depression, more specifically my depression, and trying to see if I could figure out how it started, what the trigger was, or just anything that might help me understand how I've ended up where I am. I now have a better understanding of what depression is, and it's not just a word that I'm using to describe the fact that I don't feel well. I now recognise symptoms. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to refer to notes a lot in this one. I've looked into the diagnosis of clinical depression because it's dead easy to throw that word about. Can I stress for the record, I am not a professional. This is all just based on my own personal study. If you do feel that you suffer from depression, can I suggest you go and speak to somebody, a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist, somebody that knows this stuff inside out and has bits of paper that proves that they know it. Anything I say on these videos is specifically about my depression and nobody else's. If you recognise signs, please speak to somebody who can help you. Use my videos as a starting point, but not your only source of remedy. So what did I do? Well, for a start, I've got a book now that's just full of pages and pages of notes on depression and the symptoms and things. What I tried to do was look at how you diagnose depression. I found something called, and I'm sorry I need to look down, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders, 5th edition. A patient must meet certain criteria as outlined in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders, 5th edition, better known as DSM-5. They must be affected by at least 5 of the following on a daily basis: depressed mood, diminished interest or pleasure in activities, significant weight loss or gain, inability to sleep or oversleeping, psychomotor agitation, that's that kind of wringing your hands, doing or pacing up and down, that kind of stuff, or the opposite, the complete lack of ability to do something that involves any sort of motion, fatigue, feeling worthless or feelings of guilt, the lowered ability to think or concentrate, and thoughts of death or suicidality. That includes suicidal thoughts with no plan or with a specific agenda. When the patient is suffering from these symptoms, they must cause significant stress on a daily basis. The depressive episode cannot be caused by external forces, for example, drugs or an ongoing medical condition. The symptoms cannot be explained by any other mental disorder, and the patient cannot have had a manic or hypermanic episode at any point. Out of that list of 9 things, I can tick about 5 or 6 of them on a daily basis, and 1 or 2 that are less frequent but becoming more frequent. Now, I know that's all gobbledygook and technobabble, but if you feel that you're suffering from any of those on a daily basis or frequently, then I would definitely suggest you talk to somebody, because I didn't. And that's why I'm now sitting in front of a camera, really wanting to be sick. As you can imagine, because there are so many different symptoms of depression, there is also a vast amount of types of depression. I'm choosing to focus on 2 because it's the 2 that I think I suffer from, or a combination of both of them, I should say. And that's atypical depression and dysthymia. I may have pronounced that wrong, I do apologise if I have. The main reason I think I have what's called atypical depression is because one of the things I noticed this week is that when I'm happy, I am ridiculously happy. I am super hyper, I will record videos, I will tidy the house, I will think about decorating, I will write sketches that I would have put up on YouTube prior to making this channel what it is. But in the polar opposite of that, when I'm down, all I want to do is sit and cry. I've tried watching comedies, I've tried spending more time with Layla and Laura, but all I seem to do is make them feel worse just now, which in turn makes me feel worse. There's this thing called the cycle of self-fulfillment, and it basically states there's 4 stages, and again I'm going to refer to notes, I do apologise. Basically, when it boils down to it, it's what's called learned behaviour, and it starts with you having a stressful situation, feeling down. Your brain then develops a technique where it associates everything with that. So it's, oh no, I feel down, I'm going to have a bad day, which causes you to spiral and you end up going into a further depressed mood, which then leads to what's called cognitive behavioural changes. The way it's working for me is I wake up and if I don't automatically feel in a good mood, I think that's today ruined. And because of that, I don't do anything. And then I feel terrible because I've not done anything. When I go to bed, I feel horrible. And when I wake up, I feel that I've completely wasted a day, which causes the whole cycle to start again. That is basically where I've been for the past 7 days. And even knowing what I know about it, it's been really difficult and hard to combat it. As I mentioned, I feel that I'm suffering from atypical depression, which means that when I'm low, I'm really low. And it gets harder and harder to be happy or in a better mood. And as much as a lot of the time I am a really positive guy, positive thinking on its own doesn't work. Less than 3% of people suffering from depression recover just using the power of positive suggestion. I mentioned very briefly in one of the other videos, in one of the intros, that I've started taking antidepressants. I am now into my 2nd month of them, and the first month was crazy. The first 3 days, I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember 3 days of my life because I was taking them as soon as I woke up, and by 11 o'clock, I was a zombie. I did mention that in the other video, but I want to go into it in more detail. I'm not exaggerating when I say a zombie. I literally don't remember 3 days of my life, and it's all because of these antidepressants. That's not me saying the antidepressants are bad, because they are helping, but I have noticed changes in myself. I've spoken to a few people about that, and in the majority of the incidents that I kind of related to them, they've said that it's a good thing, the changes in me, because I'm not as hyper, I'm not overreacting to situations, I kind of plateaued. But that's hard for me, because I am, and always have been, an extreme measures kind of guy. For something to go wrong, and for me not to have quite a severe reaction to it, is really, really alien to me. And I haven't enjoyed seeing that, because a lot of the time it's my passionate reaction to something that gets a result. And that right there is part of the problem, because there are days that I don't recognise myself, because the fire that's inside me has gone down, and that's taken a bit of getting used to. Don't get me wrong, Terry 2.0 is a lot better. He's calmer, he deals with things in a more kind of methodical way. But I knew the other one for 45 years, which is making it really, really hard to handle this adjustment. Depression's a terrible thing. Given the chance, it creeps up on you and just eats at you a tiny bit at a time. I call mine the cancer in my mind, because that's exactly what I think it is. I've had to change parts of my personality through medication, but I've had to change parts of my personality because I let this thing take over. If you look at the list of 9 things that I showed you earlier, even if you only notice maybe 1 or 2 of the signs, my suggestion is that you nip it in the bud before it becomes 5 or 6 of them. Talk to somebody. I'm quite happy to admit that I sat for years, and I mean years, doing absolutely nothing. I watched it creep up inside me and done nothing about it, because I chose to give it different names. Remember in the heart attack video when I didn't call my heart attack a heart attack? It's the exact same with depression. I called it, I was in a bad mood, I was going through a phase. I called it everything in the world except acknowledging that I might have some sort of mental health issue. And a lot of that's down to stigma, which I will go into in another video, but it's definitely played a part in it. I'm no depressed. And for the most part I wasn't. All you have to do is look at my Facebook and see that over the years it's just post after post about embracing the day, finding the good that you had in that day and just running with it. And yet in the back of my head, I'm screaming at the world, and chose to ignore it. I would post happy comments and then just sit in my house feeling terrible. And then I'd go to work and everybody would ask what I was up to the night before, and I'd say, oh, what a ball I had. I know I keep saying this, but the biggest single bit of advice I can give you is talk to somebody. Eventually it took a doctor dragging it out of me to get me to admit that I was suffering from depression. But I'm very thankful that they did. I felt ill after it, but there was a certain amount of relief, because at last I could put a pin in it and do something about it. I suffer from depression. I'm not ashamed of it. It doesn't embarrass me. It's part of my life. And that's what I want to talk about now. Accepting limitations. I suffer from depression. I've also got a cold. Why are they treated differently? With my cold, I can take medicine and it'll go away. But yet when we talk about depression, it's all very dark and secret. It shouldn't be. 1 in 4 people. That's a ridiculous amount of people for it not to be being discussed. There should be people standing in the middle of George's Square talking about this every day, and yet still, for the majority of the time, we choose to do it behind closed doors, and it's all still very secretive. I know a couple of people in the surrounding area that are all going to the same sort of classes I am, and you should see us when we meet up outside the class. It's like Chinese whispers. It's as if we're spies. How did you get on yesterday? Oh, I got on okay. Did you talk about blah, blah, blah? We should be sitting in a cafe with a sign above us saying, this is the depression help group. Please sit down for a chat. But we don't. And that's why I'm making these videos. I want to talk about depression. I want to talk about my symptoms. I want to be uncomfortable as I am just now, because I hope that it'll help somebody. It'll help somebody stand up and say, you know what? I feel the same as Terry. I'm going to go to my doctor now. It needs to be the topic of conversation, because as much as the journey I'm on just now is really hard work, it is one of the most worthwhile things I've ever done. I know that this new Terry 2.0 is going to be a brilliant guy to be, and getting there is exceptionally hard work, but I'm excited because A, I'm going to get better, but B, I'm going to help other people, which is kind of cool. And I know that it's difficult to talk about and admit. It took me years. But if you believe anything I say, it is such an immense weight off your shoulders when you do actually start talking about it. Now, I'm not saying you need to start a YouTube channel and tell the world that you're depressed, but talk to a friend, talk to a neighbour, talk to your doctor, talk to me. I've got email, I've got a mobile number, I've got my Facebook page. Hell, even send me a message on this YouTube channel. I will answer you, and I will always be 100% honest. And I know I keep saying about sharing the video, but hopefully by now you realise this isn't me trying to get shares and likes because I want to be dead popular. This is an important subject and nobody's talking about it. So what's next for me? Well, obviously I'm going to continue to take my medication. It's getting a bit more difficult. I'm tired an awful lot of the time, which is again why it's taking so long to make this video. I've now spoken to and registered with a ton of different organisations. I phoned every one of the NHS helplines, and I'm now on 3 different waiting lists. One thing I want to say, when you phone these places, one of the first things they'll tell you is that it's a 6, 10 or 12 week waiting list. Don't be disheartened by that. The first time I heard the words, that's 10 weeks, everything just sank. But see, when I thought about it, I'm now on the waiting list. I wasn't. If I'd done this 6 months ago, I'd be halfway through my therapy by now. I've taken the first steps. I am now on the waiting lists. I've had some general assessments, and yes, people have recognised that yes, I maybe do have some issues that I need to address, but I'm doing something about it. If it takes 10 weeks, it takes 10 weeks. I've been dealing with it for God knows how long. 10 weeks is nothing. And when you look at big picture stuff, 10 weeks is nothing in the scale of a 45-year-old man's life. It's a blip. The same as this depression is just a blip. I've not been depressed for 45 years. This is such a small fragment of my life, and it'll get fixed. So, there's been a lot of talk. I've covered a lot of ground in this video. If you have anything you want to say, please stick it in the comments section. If you want to ask me anything, same again. The hardest part for me has been accepting that this is part of who I am just now. And I would like to believe I'm finally over that hurdle. Terry McEwen suffers from depression. I suffer from depression. And I'm not even remotely ashamed by it. It's part of me. I allowed it to happen, but in the most unconscious level, I allowed it to happen. And now it's my job to do something about it. So I am. I think I've given you enough to think about from now, so I'm going to stop here. One last thing, what do you think of all this? As you can probably tell, I'm starting to take it quite seriously. I've set up a studio in my bedroom. Please let me know what you think about it. Is this background too much? Would you prefer it if it was like a static, kind of office looking background? Or do you want me sitting on the Starship Enterprise? So if you like the new look, please let me know. If you don't, tell me. Guys, have a beautiful day. The weather might suck, but it is still beautiful out there. And even though this has been a hellish 2 weeks, I still think it's beautiful out there. So guys, go out there, have some fun, and I'll be back with a new video as soon as I can. Thanks for watching as always, and have a beautiful day.